This week on Today's Homeowner, we're taking on our own media, TV. We're putting those familiar home improvement products you see advertised late at night to the test. Don't go anywhere, because you'll want to see which ones make the grade. Welcome to a very special episode of Today's Homeowner, one we're calling As Seen on TV.
How exciting! It's Today's Homeowner. I'm excited. Are you excited? Go ahead.
This is our annual look at all the different products that you see on television, infomercials that claim they can fix almost anything in your home.
The only thing that could make your miserable life better is to purchase products you see on the television.
What are you doing?
Well, it's an As Seen on TV episode, so I'm translating into pitchman speak. Go ahead, you're doing fine, go.
What we're planning on doing is the Today's Homeowner team and myself are going to go through every one of these products and really give them a try and see if they actually do what they say they can do and if they're worth the cost we paid for.
Paint an entire room in less than an hour. Get a plastic light bulb. It's the Gorilla Gripper. Everyone knows nothing is stronger than the handshake of a large primate.
I think the only way we're going to shut him up is to give him a little project to do. This is the iconic Mighty Putty, and Alan, or whatever you're going by today, why don't you give this a try and see if it really works.
All right, mate.
Hey, Joe, you got my message.
Hey, Alan, yes, about the Mighty Putty.
Mighty Putty.
All right.
Actually, I've taken half of it already.
Yeah, I see, I'm missing some already.
I figured we'll test strength. I mean, it's supposed to be
All right.
such a strong
Yeah.
product, so I've made a link out of it.
Wow,
So-
that's rock hard.
Isn't it?
Okay.
We'll put it up on the
Okay,
machine.
put a weight machine.
See what we can do here.
All right, want to set it about 100 pounds?
It's
this
on 100
time?
right now.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah. Crank her up.
All right, wait,
150.
about 150. You there?
All right.
Hey, hey.
1, 2, 3. Oh, whoa, that's pretty good.
All right, it is.
Yeah. Now, the other thing it's supposed to do is seal leaky pipe.
Right.
Let me show you what I have out here.
Okay.
Earlier in the day,
Oh,
I took
perfect.
isn't that great? I took a plastic pipe, just drilled a little hole in it,
Yep.
hooked it up to the garden hose. I'm gonna take a piece of this Mighty Putty.
It's
Break
just an
off a
epoxy
small
putty.
chunk. Yeah, it's epoxy, so it comes proportion. And I'm gonna knead it for 2 minutes. That looks good enough.
Now, the claim here is that you can actually apply this while the leak
Right
is...
to the leaking
Yeah.
pipe. Yeah, isn't that pretty fun? We're gonna
Right.
see if it works. I'm gonna take it, and they also say when you're doing in this application, you have to hold it in place until it sets up. It hardens in about 10 minutes, fully cures in 24 hours, but we need to hold it until it sets up, which would probably be 2 or 3 minutes. And you see, it's not even really set up in it. It seems to be plugging up the leak, which is pretty impressive.
Doesn't smell good, though.
No, it doesn't smell great. The nice thing, though, is that because it's important to mix epoxies in very specific proportions, this comes already divvied out into the proper proportions, so you just snap off a piece and knead it.
I'd say thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yeah, pretty good product.
While Alan and Joe were testing out the Mighty Putty, I put together this little wall section to check out our next As Seen on TV product, Hercules Hooks. Now, this is designed to hang pictures or mirrors on walls where you're not able to attach or find a stud in the wall. And of course, attaching to a stud is always the best way, but so often you don't have those. So this is supposed to take care of that kind of problem. Now, for $15, we got 20 different hooks, these little kind of unique wire designs, and what they claim is that you can install these in the wall without any tools at all. They'll hold 150 pounds, and when you remove them, they'll only leave just a small pinhole. Let's check that out. First of all, is it easy to install them? It's got a sharp edge on it, goes right through the 1/2-inch drywall. You take it, work it through, bend it a little bit, and you're done. It's really pretty unique design because it kind of spreads the weight of the hook out just a little bit, so I can see where it would support a fair amount of weight. But 150 pounds, let's test that out. I have 150 pounds here, so let's start out with 25. Okay, there's 25. Here's another 25. Okay. Well, it didn't hold up 150 pounds, not even 50 pounds, so it didn't live up to that claim. Now, the third claim says that when you remove one of the hooks, it should only leave just a small pinhole, which would be the case if we didn't have all of the weight on it that caused a little more damage to the wall. Now, not a bad design. It should work really well for something a little more lightweight, but I wouldn't rely on this to hold up Grandma's antique mirror.
An old closet with no light, a great place to test the stick-up bulb. Easy to install, just peel and stick. No outlet or wiring needed. Cool to the touch, advanced Krypton technology, and shatterproof. This product does everything it claims. This is the light, and it looks pretty good. Easy to install. There's your peel and stick right there. Personally, I would use the hardware to put it into place. The bulb, pretty bright. Cool to the touch. Right inside, there's your advanced Krypton technology. And shatterproof, absolutely. I got this at a discount store. It's about $5. Lower profile, but not as much light. This one definitely looks a little better to me. Is it worth $5 more than this one though, for the shatterproof and more light? That's really your decision.
The first rule of painting is never buy cheap paint. But nowadays, a good quality paint, even an interior paint, costs $20 or $25 a gallon. So it's really important to use every drop that you buy. Now, if you end up with a can of paint that looks like this that's used a few times, you get dried paint chips around the surface. And invariably, that ends up in the paint. So what you want to do is filter it out. Here I've taken a piece of fiberglass window screen and just taped it to the side of a brand new paint can. And I'm just pouring the old paint through there. Then you see in just a few seconds, how quickly, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a bunch of little chips in there. Now, if you don't filter it out at this stage, it'll get into the paint and eventually end up on your wall. Now, you can buy paint filters at a paint store, and they're usually made of paper and they're kind of cone shaped, like a funnel. But you can only use them once and you have to throw them out. The great thing about using a window screen is when you're done, just lift it out, rinse it with a hose, and save it for the next painting job.
This week we're looking at a number of products that you see advertised on television all the time. And right now we're about to look at several that should make your painting projects go a little easier. The first one, the point and paint. Alan, what'd you find in the box?
All right, what you get is the paint tray with the roller. You've got 2 large pads, 2 small pads, the handle, which is actually a 2-in-1, small handle here, and one that actually you can put an extension pole in.
Boy, the colors here kind of makes it look like a child's toy, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna find out if it's a toy or not.
Now, what's that made out of there? It looks like something like scouring pad, and then same material that you would use on a roller.
A roller, right? It's a very fine nap on this, and that little pad that you're talking about is like almost sponge-like. According to claims, will let you hold up to, let's say, 5 times more paint than a brush or a roller.
Okay, well, I know how much you love to paint, so I'll let you use the big one, and then I'll try the small one out in a minute.
It seems to work pretty well. With these textured plaster walls, you do have to make a couple of passes to get full coverage. It makes a nice clean line on the square edge moldings, but the tapered baseboard is a little different story.
Well, Alan, it looks like it worked pretty good around the trim here around the window, but didn't like that tapered baseboard very much, did it?
No, it didn't, but overall, I'm pretty pleased with the results.
You know, it leaves just a little tiny white line there that it doesn't quite get up to that, but I think when you paint around the trim and all, that pretty much will take care of itself.
Well, it almost looks like a caulk line anyway, so it doesn't bother me.
Man, it went fast, went real fast. Okay, let me try the small one here. Let's see here, this off. Roll that out, and then this just clips right in. Hear it snapping in there. And then I'll try to get around to paint around these wall sconces across the room here. It does let you cut in faster than most amateurs can without using masking tape, and I think with a little practice, even the tapered edges might not be such a problem. So much for putting on paint. How about taking it off?
Danny, here's a tool accessory I've seen advertised on television for quite a few years. I've been meaning to try. It's called the strip ball. And it only costs about $10. It's this plastic hub with these metal fingers. And the idea is you chuck it into a drill and you can use it to remove paint and rust from various surfaces.
Now it has some RPM ratings, I understand.
Yeah, they say you should always read the directions. First you have to wear safety goggles, of course. And I think this tool you have to operate between 1,600 and 2,400 RPM.
That'd be hard to use a cordless drill with that.
Yeah, very few cordless drills run that fast, and plus you'd really wear down the battery. So we're going to use an electric corded drill.
All right.
And if you don't mind holding this for me, ordinarily you'd clamp it in place. Let's see how it does. We're going to try to remove paint from this piece of casing. Well, it did remove the paint. It was true enough, but also it carved away the wood.
Man, you would have to do some sanding after using that on a piece of trim.
Yeah, I think maybe we shouldn't use this on nice trim like this. You end up with a perfectly flat surface.
Well, now it also says that it does pretty well on getting rust off the metal. Here I got some old tools here that got a little water on them and rusted. Let's see how well it does on this.
Probably won't hurt the metal, so this might be a good application for it.
Let me give it a try here and see.
Stand back.
Well, let's see, Joe, see how well it did on this tool. Well, what do you think?
It removed some of the rust and some of the paint. Didn't get into the grooves or anything.
It seemed like you could almost do just as well with some sandpaper or maybe a wire brush.
Might take a little longer, but yeah.
Now, if you're using the strip awl on maybe some metal handrails around your home where you're trying to remove some paint, it would probably do pretty well. But if you're trying to remove paint from any kind of wood, I would suggest sticking with a chemical stripper or maybe some old-fashioned elbow grease. Alan's checking out a tool called the Pro Caulk Edge Kit. In addition to several edge sealing tools, the kit includes a tube of caulk and a grout removal tool that works really pretty well for scraping out the old caulk. You select the edge profile that matches best before you apply the new caulk and then use the edge to wipe it down. For $19.95, it's supposed to be a no-waste, no-mess solution, but honestly, it doesn't seem to work as well as a good old-fashioned damp finger or a wet rag. And for that money, you can buy a lot of painter's rags.
You know, outdoor lighting technology has really come a long way. Now, I'm not going to give away my age, but I remember when outdoor lighting started using solar energy to power its fixtures. Well, that's great technology because you don't have to run all those wiring through your landscaping. However, once they were fully charged, they really didn't give off a lot of light. Well, Hampton Bay has solved that problem, because not only do they have now a very attractive fixture, by the way, it's not going to overpower your landscaping, and it does come in several different finishes, but they use LED technology, so it's going to be a brighter light than your standard solar lights that you've used in the past. The one thing too that I like about this is that they're very cost effective. And when you buy these, you're not chained to buying, say, like 8 or 12 that come in a big old box. You can buy 2, 4, 6, 8. You can buy as many as you need or as few as you need. So that can save you a lot of money in the long run.
We're continuing our look at all kinds of different home products that you see advertised on television, and so far we've looked at a few that have worked very well and a few others not so well. Right now we're looking at one called the Gorilla Gripper, and it's designed for carrying a lot of heavy sheets like plywood, drywall, or particle board. Joe, let me show you what this is all about. It's made out of aircraft aluminum, and it has a kind of an abrasive surface here that you can grip a sheet from 3/8 of an inch up to about 1 1/8 inches, and there you go.
How does it work?
Well, you slip it right over that, and then when you pull it up, it grips it like that and puts it in a position that should make it, supposed to make it a lot easier to carry the sheet. So you want to give it a try?
It looks like you have it under control. Actually, when you're done with this one, would you mind getting the rest of the pile for me?
Come on, come on. Yeah, I should have seen that coming, but it's not so bad because this thing really works, and it's built tough enough to take some use and abuse. But at almost 50 bucks, it's quite an investment unless you do this all the time like Joe does. Here's another tool that's designed to make lifting heavy loads a lot easier.
I must say, I'm pretty skeptical of most tools I see sold on TV. When I first saw these, they're called a Forearm forklift. I thought this is a great idea. It's nothing more than a 3-inch wide band of nylon that's used for lifting heavy objects. You get 2 of them, and you see I put the first one in position already. You got that, Danny?
Yeah, I got that.
And the idea is you use this to lift, in this case, we're lifting a refrigerator. On the end, there are 3 places where you can slip in your arms. I'm going to put 1 on each. I'm using the middle slot here. And it depends on how heavy the object is and how tall it is. But the nice thing about these is you're not just lifting the refrigerator by the straps. You slide it all the way down onto your forearms, and then you lift it with your legs and the strength of your forearms, and it leaves your two hands free to hold the object. You ready, Danny?
Yeah, I'm pretty well set here.
1, 2, 3, lift.
All right.
There you go. How's that?
That boy's great too because your feet can go right underneath the appliance and make it a lot easier to walk around the house there.
And you don't have to worry about scratching up the floor either.
That's perfect. Well, you can imagine this is the ultimate test for something like this because refrigerators are so heavy. I can imagine how easy it would be to move a washing machine around the house.
And the other option you have is what? You'd tip it back, you'd be grabbing the bottom, I'd be trying to hold the top, but there's no surface to grip here. It's very easy to drop it.
Right, and to think these only cost $20 for a pair, that's a lot cheaper than a hand truck.
Or a trip to the chiropractor.
Here's one you've probably seen a lot, the awesome Auger, a hole digging tool whether you're planting bulbs in your garden or digging fence posts. I remember seeing the commercial for this the first time and thought to myself, the dirt they're using looks like loose potting soil. I could put a spoon on the end of a drill and get the same results. So I'm giving it the real world test. First, right off the bat, you see on the picture. Now Billy Mays was a pretty tall guy and he's got the drill waist height and the auger goes all the way to the ground. In the box, 3 pieces, you get 2 augers and 1 extension. Well, you can see right off the bat, it's not quite as long as they make that out to be. I've measured from the end of the chuck to the tip is 21 inches total. Now, the other claim in the box is that you can dig holes without bending. Well, you're gonna have to bend a little bit, okay? Not too much, but you still have to bend. But the other thing was that they said you could drill fence posts up to 3 feet deep. I'm not sure where the other 15 inches is coming into play, but let's just find out how good it works on real soil. You know, I gotta admit, that works really well. Now, is it worth the $30? You'd definitely pay more if you rented an auger. However, with an auger, you would also get more power and more depth. Is it good for planting the bulbs in the garden? It could be. I could actually plant them cheaper for something like that. If you really want to save money though, think green, just like Danny is.
When I was a kid, I don't think anything beat the taste of homemade ice cream. We'd all take turns at the ice cream churn, turning the crank and impatiently waiting until it was done. There's just something special about those old hand crank churns, and the concept is as old as history. No batteries, no electricity, no solar cells, just simple elbow grease, and that is about as green as you can get. While ice cream is a pretty good thing to have, here are some other things that use the power of the hand crank that you might consider having around your home. Now, guys like me love the cool tools like this hand-powered drill. In the case of natural disasters, flashlights are a must-have, but you don't want to go stumbling around in the dark looking for batteries. There are even combination tools that have emergency radios, cell phone chargers, and flashlights all in one. So take a tip from your old summertime memories and add a few cranks around your home and maybe even some chocolate syrup. I could think of a dozen other products like that we could feature. Well, there you go, our roundup of all kinds of different products that you see advertised on television all the time. I've always wanted to do a show like this.
Now keep in mind, what you saw today was just our opinion. We took these products, put them into what we consider to be real-world situations. Some of them did pretty good, some of them, not so good.
And of course, when you're considering these products, price is always a factor. In some cases, they might work pretty well, but the price is so high, you might have a cheaper alternative.
So we've been able to prove that you really can't believe everything you hear on TV. Next week on Today's Homeowner, we're going to outline 10 easy steps for a successful kitchen remodel.